What's up guys, welcome back to Zenn Magic. Today we are going to learn how to do a pirouette with playing cards. Let's get started. Alright guys, so let's get started. Now we're going to use Chris Ramsey's first playing cards, by the way, volume 2. Now version 2. So a pirouette basically looks something like this. You take the card and it kind of spins on your finger like this. It's a nice little flourish that you can either just kind of like spin a little like this, where it's just kind of like you see people do in the end of tutorials where they kind of spin the card just a little bit, or you can actually spin it like that. So it's actually pretty simple to do. This is the perfect time to teach it, summer, because my fingers will be able to do this. Normally, I have extremely dry hands, which does make this a little bit harder. However, the sticking really has nothing to do with it. It's mainly just a friction problem. You're not trying to get it to stick to your finger because then it won't spin at all, or not for very long. It's kind of resting there. Now, if you have dry fingers, dry hands, you should still be able to do this. Maybe not for the stick, mainly just helps it stay on your finger. Now, it is not that hard to get this thing centered. When you first practice, you want to center it, and all you do is just kind of set it on your finger until it bounces, and then it will be able to spin. Now, some of you are probably going to say, hands are too small, the card doesn't clear this gap. That doesn't happen on my fingers either, as you can see. It's just kind of like, it's not working. But that's okay, because it shouldn't really be, you're not going to hold the card this way the whole time. As soon as you flick it, your fingers move out of the way very quickly. It might take a couple tries to try and get them to move out fast enough. Like this is probably what you're doing right now at the beginning, but soon you'll be able to do this. Now, so the first thing you're going to do is line it up. Just kind of set it. It helps if you have a card like that has a center. So we'll use a 9 of diamonds. So the card has a center pip that you can kind of practice with. Now, once it's balanced, your other two fingers, your index and your thumb, are going to pinch it. Your index finger is going to go right next to that card. Just going to be right under it, just like that. Then your thumb goes in between those two cards. Not on the index finger, not on the middle finger, in between them. This is what it should look like from behind. Not here, but in the middle. And the reason for that is because you're going to, and this will take practice. And if you look online for other tutorials, everyone teaches it differently. This is just the way I do it. Some people pull the card towards them. Some people flick the card out. Some people use their index finger to flick it out. I do it this way. The finger that's going to execute the rotation, the finger that's going to flip out, is my middle finger. It is going to push the card out. Now you're probably wondering, how does that work if it's also the pivot? Well, what happens is it's all about the placement and being able to quickly release your thumb and your index finger. Yes, if you do it wrong, the card is going to fly out like that. But you're not flicking your finger out like that. You're just kind of pushing ever so lightly, and it'll put it into a rotation like that. It just kind of push it into rotation, and practice it like this. Just sort of get the hang of this motion right here, pushing it into rotation. Pushing it into rotation, releasing, and then soon. Now, if your finger's not centered, you'll get this. If it's not going to rotate, it's going to fall off. All different things if it's not centered. If it's in the center, then if you ever see people that do book spinning, or even when you see people do a basketball, if the finger is not perfectly centered, then the card doesn't spin. It sort of like moves around their finger. Now, if you've ever seen cardistry videos, it is possible to do that thing where your finger moves underneath it to keep it spinning. That's a little bit more advanced. We just want to focus on getting this little rotation so it looks nice in your Instagram magic tutorials. You can finish by spinning this card. It's a nice little flourish when you do magic. It's like, look, if we just give it a spin, it changes. You can do that. You can add it as a magic little gesture instead of like the usual snap, whatever. You can just say, look, just like this, get a little spin and it changes. Nice little rotations. Oh, I should also point this out. This is why I'm having trouble teaching it. Your hand does need to be level. If it's like tilted like this, obviously it's not going to work. It needs to be flat. In fact, I want to come around this side. Okay, that's better at a teaching angle too. So the finger comes here, and you just kind of spin it. So first, balance it. Second, grab. With the index finger and thumb, remember the thumb is in between these two fingers. Your middle finger is going to kick out like this as you release these two fingers. That is basically it. The hardest part is getting it to stay on your finger, and that's where the sweat does come in. You're not trying to stick it to the finger, make sure that it stays. You don't need to do that. Just sort of put it there, and then it will just kind of spin lightly like this. You can get a few rotations. If it's not in the center, again, it's going to do that. But when it's actually in the center, that wasn't. And again, this card helps line it up. It'll do that. So that's the pirouette. Just practice it. One final recap. Again, if your fingers aren't entirely sweaty, if they're a little bit dry, it will be a bit more difficult, but there are workarounds for it. You can always moisten your fingers just a little bit. Not enough that the card, like wash your hands or something and then dry them. That's probably sufficient enough to practice. And then once you get good at it, it shouldn't really matter the condition of your hands. You should just be able to do this the majority of the time, and it's a nice little thing. And then you can work up to the super fast ones where they like spin it. So that is the pirouette. Nice little thing you can do like that. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Remember, we perform to amaze. See you next week.